Hi all, welcome to today's session. Today we are going to discuss the poem Batter My Heart by John Donne. This poem is one of the 19 holy sonnets or divine meditations which was originally published in the year 1633, that is 2 years after the death of John Donne, and it is directly addressed to God and is one of Donne's most dramatic devotional lyrics. And this is included in the Holy Sonnets, the collection entitled The Holy Sonnets. The Holy Sonnets are written in the style and form of Petrarchan sonnet we have 2 quatrain. Quatrain means 4-lined stanza and a sestet, that is a 6-lined stanza. In total we have 14 lines. These sonnets were composed during the time of Donne's conversion to Anglicanism. But they are not published during his lifetime. In fact, these sonnets make a universal drama of religious life. So let us start the poem, Batter My Heart. This poem opens up with an order or a command which is addressed to the 3-prsoned God. The original title of the poem is Batter My Heart, the 3-prsoned God. The 3-prsoned God means the Holy Trinity, the God as the Father, Son and Holy Spirit in one. So here we have a troubled speaker. The speaker is in a dilemma, in a spiritual dilemma. He is indeed troubled and he has undergone a spiritual decay which he needs to get cured. He is in a spiritual dilemma or confusion in accepting his current faith and therefore expressing his desire to get renewed. Actually, the poet doesn't know whether the new faith that he is going to embrace is a right choice from his part. But anyway, he wants God, the Creator, to batter his heart, to torture him and thereby get him totally renewed. Batter means hit, strike or whack. He is asking God to torture his heart in order to transform it into something new. And he is expressing this desire to get renewed in this sonnet. Batter my heart, 3-prsoned God, for you, as yet but knock, breathe, shine, and seek to mend, that I may rise and stand, overthrow me, and bend your force to break, blow, burn, and make me new. Here the poet begs God to help him stay pure, serene, and resist sin or evil, all kinds of sin or evil. First he uses gentle words like knock, breathe, shine, etc. and later replaces them with violent words like break, blow, burn to show the rigorous physical battering that he requires from the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. He is asking God to batter his heart, the 3-prsoned God, and it is a metaphor for Holy Trinity. Also, it is a biblical allusion too. So, God, help me and batter my heart and reshape it at your convenience. So God has knocked at him, blown his breath and asked him to mend himself by means of love and mercy, but all those methods proved futile. So now, God should give up the moderate steps and should deploy extreme force to break, blow and make him new and free from sin. So you just intensify your efforts to make my heart anew. You should give up all those moderate steps that you used upon me, and now it is time to use much more fierce activities to mend himself or to make his heart anew. That is what the idea that he puts forward in lines 1 to 4, that is in the first quatrain. Then the second quatrain, that is lines 5 to 8. I, like a Serb Town, to another due labor to admit you, but oh, to no end. Reason, your viceroy in me should defend, but is captive and proves weak or untrue. So in lines 5, speaker compares him or likens him to an usurped town. I liken a usurped town to another due. So he compares him to an usurped town. Usurped means a captured town, owing an allegiance to someone else. That means I am now a captive of someone else other than God. I ought to be a captive of God, but now I am under the allegiance of someone else. So I am like in a Serb Town. Reason, your viceroy in me should defend, but is captive and proves weak or untrue. Reason, your viceroy in me. You give me a free will, the reasoning ability too, and without making a prudent use of it, I have spoiled it. Or indeed, I have spoiled my free will. You could have monitored me. You could have mended me. That is why you have used your viceroy in me. That is why you have employed your viceroy in me. That is reason. Reason here means the ability to choose between good and evil. That is symbolic of the free will that God has given as human beings. So, though you employed your viceroy reason in me, I couldn't make a judicious use of it. You could have monitored me and mentored me. It was your responsibility to lead me on the right path. Reason is your viceroy in me, so its duty was to defend me from evil. But now I find I am spoiled and captive, weak and untrue. Reason could have spared me from the grips of evil, but it seems to be captive, weak or untrue, unreal. So these lines also represents his confusion or dilemma. Then coming to the next lines, that is lines 9 to 10. Yet dearly I love you, and would be loved fain, but am betrothed unto your enemy. Divorce me, untie, or break that knot again. So in the former lines, he have already mentioned that he is just like an Serb Town under the allegiance of evil. And even reason, God's viceroy in me, have failed from protecting me from evil. So now he says, yet clearly I love you, but still I love you, and would be loved fain. Though you have employed your viceroy in the town of my soul to monitor my deeds, it seems that I am betrothed to your enemy, that is evil. So there is a paradox in that. See, God has already employed his agency of surveillance, that is reason, his viceroy, in the poet's soul. But still we can see that he is betrothed to evil, that is God's enemy. And still he says that I love you. So there is a paradox. So break that bond. So he's asking God to break that bond and divorce me from evil. You just get me separated from evil, or free myself from the clutches of evil. Take me to you, imprison me, for I, except you enthrall me, never shall be free, nor ever chaste except you ravish me. So take me to you. So you just free myself from the grips of evil and take me to you. You break the knot and take me to you as your captive and imprison me in you. And if you don't enslave me, I can't escape from evil. See the paradox there. If you don't enslave me, I can't escape from evil. Take me to you, imprison me, for I, except you enthrall me, never shall be free. So he's asking God to enslave him in God. Then only he can escape from evil. See how enslavement becomes freedom in the other way. If God enslaves him, he is sure that he shall be free from evil. So here enslavement becomes an escape from evil in other way. He loves God, but he is betrothed to God's enemy. And he says the speaker can only be free if enthralled by God, and he can only be chaste if God ravishes him. So here, yet another example of paradox is there. I can only remain chaste if God ravishes me. How can one remain chaste when one is ravished by another entity? He's asking God to ravish him so that he can remain chaste. Here, ravishment also becomes another kind of chastity. Anyway, the paradox is that he says that he can only be free if enslaved by God, and he can only be chaste and if he is ravished by God. So here we can also notice one thing. There is a shift from the political to the personal. So as mentioned earlier, we can see that he is in a dilemma, spiritual dilemma, regarding the new faith that he has begun to follow, that is Anglicanism. So strictly there is a shift from the political to the personal. And regarding the form of the poem, We know it is a simple sonnet with 14 lines, and it is written in loose iambic pentameter, and it is a Petrarchan sonnet with an octave rhyming A B B A A B B A, and a sestet with a rhyme scheme of C D D C E E. So that is all about Better My Heart. So thank you for listening and watching.